Lacrosse fans glued to every move, Athletes Unlimited has unveiled two dynamic duos. Maggie Hall and Erica Evans worked in perfect tandem yesterday. Their give-and-go game too good to stop. Then there's the purple twosome, the Izzy Skane train, coupled with Erin Kuykendall and her sublime skill. It's double the fun with Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse on ESPN. Slap on the sunscreen. It's going to be a hot one here in Sparks, Maryland. Today we finish up the first weekend of Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse on ESPN. Captain, my captain. Team Bosco has a definite score to settle with Team Glenn. Two sides each looking for win number 2. It is so nice to see you again. Alongside Courtney Martinez-Connor, a 5-time national champion at Maryland. I'm Joe Beninati. We'll tag up with field reporter Kylie Ohlmiller in just a few moments. Court, these two teams with a 1-1 mark. What impression have they made upon you this week?
You know, first and foremost, they don't have a loss bigger than 3 goals. So they've been in every single game. It's just a matter of finishing strong. They want to finish strong, not just to come up with another win, but to make sure that they're looking good. So that way they can be selected as high as possible when it comes to draft time. If
you're just jumping on board with us with Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse, here's how we get the job done over the next month. 56 of the finest players in the world here for 4 weeks. Teams have 14 players per side. They change every week through the captain's draft. Keeping score with the action is fun and fast. We'll be playing 3 games in 4 days for just about a month. Court, the leaderboard, it gets a lot of attention, and deservedly so. How are we looking as of now as we head into play today?
You know, if you pay attention to the leaderboard, you look for those who are in the top 10. Everybody in those top 10 positions either have a gold jersey because they are on Team Merino, or they have one of the jerseys where they've been 1-1. It's very important to do well as a team. You want to win as many quarters as possible, as well as that overall game, but you also have to perform as an individual. You want to make sure you're scooping up some ground balls, scoring goals, making saves.
Uniform colors next to the names on the leaderboard. As we set the table for the opening game, Team Bosco's side, Izzy Skane definitely warming up quickly to life as a professional.
Izzy Skane has been fun to watch in her AU Pro Lacrosse debut. She already has 5 goals and 2 assists, and the theme is when there's no defensive contact, goals are certainly gonna follow for number 2-7. Izzy was a scoring machine in her last game. She's a powerful dodger. She has vision when she's being marked off, but with a head full of steam, she's tough to stop.
She's racing up the leaderboard, sitting in 20th right now. As for Team Glenn, it's been fun to watch Katie O'Donnell return to her high-scoring ways.
Katie O'Donnell, she is a true midfielder. And what I mean by that, she is a force on both ends of the field. She does a lot of the dirty work, whether that's scooping up a ground ball, getting a draw control, causing a turnover. She wreaks havoc, but she can score goals as well. Whether she's involved in a 2-man game or going to cage herself, sometimes she slows down and then reacts much quicker when redodging.
We find her 12th on the leaderboard right now. O'Donnell playing with so much veteran savvy and determination. Field reporter Kylie Ohlmiller, she has these thoughts on number 9's resurgence.
Katie O'Donnell is definitely playing like a 4th-year pro so far this season. I spoke with her prior to today's game, and she attributes that success to a work smarter, not harder mindset that she has developed as she's gotten a little bit older, in her own words. She, in the offseason, is the head coach at Drexel, and she mentioned that position helps her to see the game in a new lens, allowing her to slow things down and help others do the same. I saw her running a lot of Team Glenn's huddles yesterday, so Joe, Courtney, I think we can expect more of that natural leadership from number 9 in blue today.
Doing very well, Kylie, and aging like a fine wine, like an 82 Bordeaux, if you will. As we look at the lineups today, Team Bosco against Team Glenn in the blue. Watch out for 26 at the attack. Casey Choma will make things hum offensively for Team Glenn. On the back end, defensively, protecting their captain, Katie Glenn, in goal. Geiger, Detweiler, Burns, and Donovan. Specifically, Donovan and Geiger, the veterans, Detweiler and Burns, the young guns. As we get set for action today, Team Bosco provides the opposition. Kuykendall with a highlight reel marker yesterday from her attacker spot. Marie McCool will be everywhere through the midfield for Team Bosco, wearing number 4. On the defensive side of the equation, Abby Bosco is the reigning Defensive Player of the Year from last summer. Courtney Taylor is a definite ripoff, and Madison Doucette backing her up in goal. The officials: Lynn Bowers, Erica Leslie, Devin Holcomb, Ronnie Anton on the field for you today. Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse on ESPN. We're off and running from USA Lacrosse headquarters. Team Glenn in the blue, 100-yard field, 80 yards from goal line to goal line. We play it to 10 on 10, 6 on 6 at the offensive end, and there is a 60-second shot clock in AU Pro Lacrosse. O'Donnell off the sweep, playing catch with Hall. Maggie fires and scores, wasting no time.
As if on cue, with that very first draw control, Katie O'Donnell scooped it up, got it safely into the offensive area, and then all eyes were on her. She began with the dodge. Again, a little two-man game between she and Gabby Hall. It's all about making sure you get the defender on their heels. A little miscommunication. Maggie Hall with goal number 1.
I like that two-man straight out of the gates here today because we saw a lot of it yesterday between Maggie Hall and Erica Evans on the left side. It was successful against Team Marino. This one was just a little bit more unsettled, and I think that's why it made it so lethal.
So Kylie, put the shoe on the other foot. How do you defend it?
It's one of those things you have to be ready for. If you're making sure that you are scouting the team that you're going to play next, it's a quick turnaround from yesterday's games to today's, and I think that's something that Team Bosco should be ready for here today.
Maggie Hall strikes at the 28-second mark. Hall with goals in all 3 games this weekend, her first week as a pro in Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse. Draw control for Team Bosco. You get draw control points as an individual, a +4 on your individual leaderboard tally. Once we're through with business today, we've got 2 games on the docket. Once we're through and all the MVP voting is in, there'll be 4 captains, top 4 on the leaderboard. We'll go through a new draft process tomorrow night. Kuykendall measured on the outside. Burns is a real ball hawk defensively. Grace Griffin, one of a dozen players who hails from the great state of Maryland. We're in Sparks, Maryland today. Izzy Skane maneuvers in, draws a double team. Geyers back, closes, and Katie Glynn stares that one right into her cross.
You can already see the defensive concepts coming up for Team Glenn and the blue jerseys. Initially, they were making it hard for Izzy Skane to get open and get that ball. The defender matching up on her. Katie Detweiler looks like she is the one who's going to get tagged with that tough job of how to keep Izzy Skane off the board.
Right now, Katie O'Donnell is directing traffic for Team Glenn at the offensive end. A 1-0 advantage, Maggie Hall on the board. Rosenzweig straight ahead for Mastriani. Tiptoes inside that 8-meter key. If you score from behind that, it's a 2-point tally for your team. You'll get 16 points for yourself. Hall surveys against Carr. Had that one blocked. Dowdy, rakes that one into the goal circle as Britt Reed will clamp down on it. Britt Reed, throughout 4 seasons, 4 summers of Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse, she's right there top of the heap when it comes to total saves. Sammy Jo Tracy venturing along, waiting for the 6-on-6 to develop. Marie McCool is someone you have to keep an eye on over the course of a full 24-game season, 12 for each player. She's just always going to sneak up that leaderboard. Geyer's back, waiting. Skane is next. Izzy from the top against Detweiler. On the exchange, Geyer's back, sent that missile wide of the goal. 15 seconds to shoot. McCool isolating, turns a corner, wrapped it around and wide after that little finalizer move. Sammy Jo Tracy inside, stuffed by Glenn. Ball right there at the top of the restricted area, that box in front of the goal circle, implemented this summer. More emphasis on walling calls in 2024.
You know, as a rule added in, the player executive committee had met. Number 1, how to keep the game safer. There are no shooting space calls in AU Pro Lacrosse. but they were finding that defensive players were just kind of standing in front of that goalkeeper area, basically prohibiting the shooters from taking a quality shot. So this negates that. Again, it's just a space where you can be in and out.
Rosenzweig knocked down inside the 8-meter. McDowdy is on her way to the sideline. It looks like there was going to be a yellow card call, but not this time. Free position shot straight ahead.
As we take another look, it's that push from behind.
Rosenzweig on her way to the goal, fumbled it there. Collected by Hall off the face dodge against Carr. And then it was Britt Reed reading low to make the save. Every goalie save earns the netminders 4 points.
You know, and so many times we see goalkeepers moving up the leaderboard, whether the shot clock is winding down, sometimes it's a last-ditch effort to get a shot off, and you're almost better off just putting the ball into the corner, making the other team have to run after it, pick that ball up rather than giving an extra 4 easy points to any keeper, and that's also another change. It used to be 5 in terms of getting a save last year in Season 3 of AU Pro Lacrosse. The first 2 years, 6 points.
Glenn latches onto it. This is the brightest sunshine we've seen in any of the first 3 days of AU Pro Lacrosse. Temperatures are in the high 80s. Final game of the week for these two squads. Again, we'll draft new teams tomorrow, 7 p.m. on YouTube. You can watch the AU Pro Lacrosse draft with Kylie Ohlmiller and Maria Tribalpiece. Erica Evans had a strong showing yesterday. She'll work in against Abby Bosco. Feed to the corner, quick stick from Rosenzweig, and that's well read. Bosco with a takeaway. The caused turnover gives her 10 points. She looks for the fast break with Taylor. Courtney closing in. Skane. Give it right back to McCool. Fenced away by Katie Glynn. Glynn, who was super yesterday, a career best 15 stops. She's taken right up where she left off.
She's so fun to watch. She takes up some good angles in goal, and oftentimes those fast break situations where the ball is moving from side to side, low to high, they can be hard to stop because your head is on a swivel as a goalkeeper, having to turn quickly.
Another goalie who likes to play with her heels on the goal line. Geyersbach fires and scores! That one trickles through.
As if right on cue, coming in from a quick out of bounds, Sam Geyersbach for Team Bosco. Getting a nice little flip, seeing the space in front of her, no slides, a lot of back of the heads. She can see that as she's challenging in and turns that corner, giving herself a better angle.
Sam Geyersbach routinely on the score sheet. Season after season, this is a top 3 type gunner. She levels the count at 1 apiece. There's a whole row full of future AU Pro Lacrosse stars watching from here at USA Lacrosse headquarters. Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse is sponsored by the U.S. Air Force. Season number 4 for Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse. We've mentioned the point scoring system, innovative, very intriguing. This is the way you can pick up points and lose points.
You know, every single position is represented. A lot of the midfielders getting work with ground balls, draw controls, cause turnovers, in addition to defenders. Obviously, middies score goals too, but assists are about half the amount of a goal some things to note. When you make a mistake or if your shot is saved, those count in the reverse. So you will have points deducted from your overall leaderboard points.
As for those deductions, Court, we see them now on the screen.
Things that you want to steer clear from: silly fouls. Oftentimes, you make contact in the collegiate game, nothing is deducted from you individually, or having a yellow card, an excessive cross-check, and check to the head. Those are worth some massive point deductions. And then a red card. If a shot is assessed above the knee and it hits a defender, you're out for the rest of the game.
Marie McCool wearing a microphone for us today. Marie, right inside of that draw circle. Hey, you look fresh as a daisy out there. It's a hot one. How are you and your mates handling all the heat some 6 minutes in?
Yeah, it's definitely hot out here, but luckily since I live in Chapel Hill, I feel like I'm a little bit used to it, but obviously a lot of game to go left.
Marie, I think you just have an engine that absolutely never stops. How do you manage to keep going back and forth on the field? There's just 4 middies on every team.
You know, just a lot of running and endurance training. I feel like that's something that is my special sauce. We always talk about superpowers and trying to channel that. So I try to, you know, run up and down the field to stop fast breaks and hopefully start them too.
Marie, Courtney and I have a wager on whether or not you get this draw. Good luck against Mastriani.
Thank you.
Getting back to work with 4:05 to go in the opening quarter. The two teams trading markers. Geyer's back for Team Bosco. Hall for Team Glenn. Glenn in the blue jerseys. Ali Mastriani ready to go. Mastriani, who started this week with an 8 draw control game. You get 4 points if you get draw control possession. Out on the wing, that's going to belong to Amy Moreau. Moreau captured on the outside by Bosco. We settle in here for a 6-on-6. 60-second shot clock in Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse. And we remind you, our viewers at home, every quarter is worth points to the entire roster. If you win the quarter, everybody gets 20 points for their leaderboard tally. If it's a tie, as we are right now, those 20 would carry over. The second quarter would be worth 40. On the move, quick trigger from Hall, knocked aside by Britt Reed. Courtney Taylor there on the ride and redefend. Good work from Choma of Team Glenn. Finally, it settles into the cross of Courtney Taylor. It's knocked out of bounds. The officials are going to award possession to Team Bosco in purple.
When Courtney first came up with that ground ball out of the defensive end, she stopped moving her feet, and that's how Team Glenn, they were able to get a check off. Cookie Carr, another one of Courtney Taylor's teammates, came running out to help defend, but ultimately the ball is headed back to Team Glenn.
The ball heading back to Team Glenn, it looked like a false start over here. Referees wanted to whistle the ball in, so that false start will give the ball back to Team Glenn's offense.
That's the voice of Kylie Ohlmiller joining us this summer as a field reporter. Hall and Evans tried to do their 2-person game again. They were so successful at it yesterday.
And that 2-person game, it seems so easy to defend, but it takes a lot of communication because several things can happen. A draw and dump, or they challenge off of a teammate's heels, or they are basically looking to confuse the defense about who's going to take the ball to one side or the other. And Kylie, you love the 2-man game yourself.
I do. I think it's such a really great way to get to the cage and see different looks. It's not always just the drive.
Kuykendall working at the top of the 8-meter key. Defense turned in there by Burns. It's O'Donnell who sprints to safety. Team Glenn on the run, looking to grab the lead.
Geiger taking that ball from the defensive end to the offensive. She had 6 years during her collegiate playing days at Loyola, and she played every position imaginable, from offense to midfield, ultimately ending her career at the defensive end, just not a goalkeeper. That's the one spot she didn't play.
Wise, very wise. On the outside, Mastriani checking the shot clock, which sits at 20. More solid defense from Bosco, getting after Choma. Choma works her way in, flips there, it gets away from Evans. Shot clock is at 6 as the ball rolls out of bounds. It's a turnover to Team Bosco. Folks, get closer to the action with your free unlimited club membership. Vote on game MVPs, compete in the AU Fantasy League, or get your exclusive prizes in that way by signing up now at auprosports.com. Late in the opening quarter, final minute to be specific. With the scoreboard level at 1, those quarter points are available. If we remain tied, the second will be worth 40 for everybody on the roster. Skane off the split from right to left, feeding Geyersbach. Bouncer! She scores! Geyersbach has her second.
That's a huge goal as the first quarter is nearing an end. An excellent play from the defensive end, and that has transitioned all the way to a goal being scored for Team Bosco. Here in the purple jerseys, started off with Skane. She drew the attention. First, it was difficult for her to get the ball, and then as she's challenging, rolling off, the slide came. Katie O'Donnell leaving Sam Geyersbach, and that's what left her open for that nice little quick dish off.
Sam Geyersbach has taken a couple of games to kind of get going, get hot. And she's seen some great matchups and defenders so far on Thursday and on Saturday because she had such a successful season last year. So to see her get that first one, now she's just gonna keep rolling.
Successful indeed, Kylie. When you think back to last summer, she had 9 different multiple goal games. She's got a pair already in this first quarter. Bosco's team with Geyersbach converting her last 2 shots after the squad started 0 for 5. As Courtney points out, that's a big goal, putting Team Bosco in the driver's seat. Can they hold on to win the quarter points that are available over the next 27 seconds? Moreau shoveled that one wide. Closest to the ball on a shot where and when it leaves the field gets possession, so it belongs to Maggie Hall for Team Glenn in the final 15. Gliding in against Dowdy. Too tough to handle there on the catch for Rosenzweig. 5 seconds left. The long feed for Skane at the final horn. She slugged that one high. Team Bosco in purple, everybody on the roster, gets 20 points by virtue of the 2-1 quarter win. We're gonna step aside, let the athletes get some refreshments on this hot day near the nation's capital. From the opening draw, Katie Glenn's squad, meaning business, jumping out to the 2-1 advantage on ESPN. Done with 10 minutes in Game 5 of 24 this summer. Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse Team Bosco has the 2-1 advantage over Team Glenn. A pair of strikes from Sam Geyersbach, who placed 20th on the leaderboard a summer ago. The team's beaten the Heat underneath their respective tents after the opening quarter. We hope to catch up with Sam Geyers back in a moment. In the meantime, we can go into the game with the U.S. Air Force and Marie McCool.
Let's go, Freckles. Here we go. Then I told her to call her out if we turn it over and just run a double A-man, and I'll sprint in if it's not a fast break opportunity on the defense.
Got it.
Oh God, not shots. I'm too old for that, Linz. But I don't do well. I don't do well with peer pressure.
I know.
I don't. Oh, nice shot, Is. Those wrists, they're so fast. It's like, one more, Ali Mastriani. One more, Ali Mastriani. Good.
Marie McCool, who you calling Freckles? 2-1. Bosco has the advantage after one quarter. It's time for us to send you field level. Kylie Ohlmiller and Sam Geyers back.
Sam, it took a couple of days to get going, and I understand that as a player. You've had some great matchups because of a great season last year, so talk about what's getting you going right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty unreal playing with someone like Izzy and Erin, and we got Marie on this team too, so kind of the inspiration from them trickles down to me, and they're just giving me all the empowerment to just take it, keep shooting, stay hot. So credit to all of them. I mean, best teammates to have for the first week, so I'm just happy with it.
Love it. Keep shooting is right.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, guys.
Last time she'll have those teammates for this week, and presumably moving forward. Just a reminder, the draft tomorrow. Every Monday, 4 captains, pick new sides. Check the draft out on YouTube, 7 p.m. Eastern. Kylie Ohlmiller and Maria Tribal-Peace will keep you company for that, and we'll all be taking notes, getting ready for week 2. This is the first of 2 today. Team Apuzzo against Team Marino to follow. Check out auprosports.com to find the listings in your area where you can check that game out at 3:30 Eastern. Just tuning in with us, just shy of the bottom of the hour. Joe and Courtney up top, Kylie field level. We tip our cap to all the men and women in our technical crew for another early day, getting us set for an AU Pro Lacrosse doubleheader. This is Sammy Jo Tracy, she of a million stick tricks.
Or 1,000,001 with her new fancy little stick. You always see her with gloves on her hands, and you wonder why more people don't do it. She doesn't want any defensive players getting on her hands too much, and it makes a lot of sense.
This one's bounced wide of the goal, chased down on the end line. It'll stay Team Bosco ball. Geyers back will bring it in off the sideline. 9 seconds to shoot on the 60-second shot clock. Kuykendall with a quick flick. And Glenn denies Kuykendall her second highlight reel kind of strike. She had the goal of the week yesterday. Although Sydney Black might rival it with the swim move as well. Those two were fabulous.
The creativity that this rookie class is bringing to AU Pro Lacrosse is stellar. They're not afraid to try new things. Kuykendall's behind the back ripper, I mean, that was out pretty far. And then the swim move, you just haven't seen it in the women's game.
Mainly, I would think, because of the tension in the pocket of the women's lacrosse stick.
Absolutely, we don't have anywhere near the pocket that you have in the men's game.
Short side score! The conversion again for the fearless attacker from that left side, Maggie Hall.
Bringing things back to even. Bosco and Glenn both at 2. Maggie Hall just seems to always be involved in every single offensive possession. They're either giving her the space to work on an isolation dodge herself, or she's oftentimes involved in a 2-man game. And this wasn't necessarily 2 players working together. They were parallel to one another. Haley Warden, Maggie Hall. She just saw that she had an extra step on her defensive player who was pinching in a little bit, ready to slide in case Haley Warden was gonna dodge.
That's one of those things you think about on defense. You're always taught not to half slide. You're taught to either go fully or you're taught to stay. And we saw that we caught Meg Dowdy in a half slide there, which opened up Maggie Hall for a low angle shot.
Field reporter Kylie Ohlmiller giving us a sense for how the game sounds and feels. left side of your screen, you're gonna see the up-to-date leaderboard. Top 4 players on the leaderboard to close of business today will be the new captains tomorrow. The colors next to the names reflecting the uniform colors. Began the day with a reigning 2-time champion on top of the leaderboard, netminder Taylor Marino, who has been at her stingy best through 2 games this week. Tied up at 2, Maggie Hall 2, Sam Geyer's back 2 on the big board. Skane feed. That's a tough catch. The turn from Griffin went high. Kuykendall sets her feet, and now we're going to have a whistle and one of those walling calls, I presume.
You know, very different than what we'd seen in the past, where players would just be standing there kind of shoulder to shoulder, side by side. That's more of what you think about with a wall. But if you're just coming right at the attacker, taking away her ability to shoot, that's when it will be called as well.
Kuykendall, nice feed, better finish there. Unselfish delivery, and Grace Griffin converts.
Erin Kuykendall, not just known for her scoring capabilities, but her vision as well. She is one of the smartest players on the field at all times. She just plays at another level. So you think that she's winding things up, and she actually did this quite a bit at Northwestern, where she just graduated from. Grace Griffin, ready and waiting. It was in her left hand, her dominant side. So excellent vision for Kuykendall.
Kuykendall, as you mentioned, Courtney, has been revolutionizing the way that free positions are taken. She sees them as almost another play out there on the field, not just a free shot, more so as a free opportunity to realize that the defense is collapsing on her as a shooter. What can come from that? Usually some slides to her stick and some open players on the outside.
Number 5 in the purple, thinking back to yesterday, Court, we've talked about it, and now we can share a look at greatness.
You know, this was her very first goal, not a traditional one at that, but a behind the back. She was on the run, all of a sudden slammed on the brakes, which allowed her defensive player to overrun her. Her only available shot was a behind the back, and she stung that right in that corner.
Just set up Grace Griffin for a goal. Grace, the daughter of John and Kelly, one of 5 children in the family. Grace's sister Mary is working with Athletes Unlimited this year. As we near the 3-minute mark of the second quarter, Team Bosco back in front. The score level in the second frame in the quest for those 20 quarter points. Marie McCool wins the draw to herself, picks up 4 more on the leaderboard. Marie is right there, starting the day among the top 10. This pass for Taylor over top of her cross and out of bounds. Courtney Taylor was the first defender taken in the draft back on Monday. We'll draft new sides tomorrow night.
Little turnovers like that, especially in this heat. Once you've done all that work, Marie McCool won the draw control, swapping out sticks, ready to start the offense, and then your team coughs up the ball. It's so hot. Again, not a lot of middies on the field. There's just 4 positional players, attack, midi, and defense. Things are going to become tiring, so you just have to take care of the ball as much as possible. Don't lose possession.
Team Glenn in blue going through the weave. Maggie Hall forgot something there. She'll chase it down with 20 seconds to shoot. Outside the 8-meter key, pressured all the way by Kristen Carr. Rosenzweig off the pump fake. She sent it way wide of the goal. Possession belongs to Team Bosco in purple.
And that, again, those things that maybe don't account for much or people don't really notice. Marie McCool, she was able to quickly slide to Livy Rosenzweig after sliding, hedging, showing. She got back to her, she broke her feet down, and that ultimately forced that bad angle shot.
Definitely doing a little bit of everything on both sides of the ball. She has the ball here now. She's probably going to take it down the alley, if I could assume.
You got it right. You must have played this game a time or two, and especially at this level for 3 summers. Old Miller, during 3 summers of Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse, bagged 50 goals. Injured this summer, joining our TV team. Glenn made that one look easy, snapping it out of the air against Skane. 5 saves to this point for Katie. Katie Glenn took 3rd place honors last summer. Top 4 will receive medals on August 11th, the final day of this Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse season. There'll be an award for Teammate of the Year, for Defender of the Year as well. Choma's pass gobbled up by Britt Reed. Halfway through the second frame, Dowdy leisurely into the attack territory. Meg Dowdy, the lone defender on the Rules Working Committee. Kylie Ohlmiller is actually a part of that, along with the PEC, the Player Executive Committee. Kylie, I know you were talking about physicality with the refs earlier. Been a well-played, clean game to this point.
Definitely seeing some adjustments. You see players starting to play really good defense with their feet.
Skane's footwork is pretty good to the alley. She scores.
Once they got the ball settled into the offensive end, there was a quick clear through. Katie Glynn may have been screened by her own defender who was trying to get out of what traditionally would have been shooting space in Athletes Unlimited walling. Nevertheless, Team Bosco starting to separate here in AU Pro Lacrosse.
Into this opening half of play, 3 of the last 4 goals on the board to the team in purple, and a 4-2 advantage. Folks, the Air National Guard's motto is always ready, always there. The Air National Guard proudly partnering with Athletes Unlimited in supporting players who are always ready to compete for the top spot, as we find out who is climbing their way up the leaderboard rankings this week to earn the title of Air National Guard's Mover of the Week. And the biggest mover since Thursday, Izzy Skane. Started her pro career on Thursday with a single marker, but then she opened it up. Courtney, she was MVP 1 on Saturday in the win over Team Mapuzo.
Now, Izzy's just a dominant player. It's tough to slow her down when she's going full speed, but she has a repertoire of dodges. So she's not just a one-trick pony. It's that quick first step, but she has vision too, so watch out. If you double team her, she's gonna dish it off to one of those open teammates.
She rose 31 spots on the leaderboard and is progressing nicely. When you think about the rookie class, and we've spent a lot of time discussing them, when the day began, when this Sunday play began, 7 of the top 10 players on the leaderboard were first-timers, first-year performers in Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse. There you see Izzy Skane and Kylie Ohlmiller strolling out to midfield. We'll turn things over to Kylie.
So Izzy, you were just saying 3 games straight in a row. How's the body feeling? What are the vibes like? And obviously things are working for you guys on the offensive end so far here today.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, it's the 3rd game. Everyone's going to be tired, so I think our mentality is just come in hard, go as aggressive as you can, and just put it all out there. And I think, too, just focus court at a time. It makes it a little easier when you're just going for 15 minutes, and that's kind of what we're trying to do.
You can tell it's working, so good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Izzy Skane, who grew up as a competitive gymnast. Kylie, I'm wondering, was there any of that on your resume? Was gymnastics anywhere on the Ohlmiller train of thought?
You would think with the amount of times I'm on the floor when I play lacrosse, right? But no, it was more the volleyball that taught me that trick.
Volleyball, that's it. another of Athletes Unlimited professional leagues.
A libero?
That I was. I got to wear the different color jersey, fling myself all over the floor. That's really where I learned how to fall on the floor gracefully, if you would say.
Love it. There are so many pro lacrosse players who began in gymnastics, and I think individual sports do teach you a lot, how to overcome, how to have to rely on yourself. There's not a team out there with you.
Kuykendall backing outside the 8-meter key. Off for Hannah Dorney. Dorney scored her first pro 2-pointer yesterday. 20 seconds left to shoot. 4-2 Bosco. Late second quarter. They lead the second quarter frame 2-1, and they advance that up by 1 mark.
So I just talked about Izzy Skane. If you're gonna double team her, you have to go hard and fast, and you gotta stick with it. And we just see that the double team wasn't quite closed. So Izzy receives the pass. Katie O'Donnell's on her. Kind of almost a third person came. Detweiler was on her way as well. Not quite fully committing. Nobody making contact with her. You gotta make it difficult for her to feed that ball because she can find the open player. Izzy Skane now adding in an assist to her score sheet today.
And you mentioned it, Courtney. Katie Detweiler on the defensive end was sprinting her way across. But if you take a look back at those replays, everybody's eyes on the defense were on number 27 in purple. Rightfully so, but it makes for an easy slip on the backside for Hannah Dorney.
Dorney with tallies in back-to-back games. It's 3 unanswered goals for Team Bosco in just a little less than a 4-minute run as Marie McCool ends a streak of draw controls for Team Glen. It's an area where Livy Rosenzweig so often dominates. Shade more than 3 minutes with which to work in this opening half. Stay right there with us. We'll share a special feature or two on what the athletes thought, who the athletes thought would win in this summer of 2024. Lindsay McCone, 2 times the Player Executive Committee chairperson, finds Kuykendall. Burns working feverishly there. Geyer's back, gets past Geiger, feed inside, and a snapshot's delivered wide. 54 miles an hour on that trigger.
And that's gonna be a cause turnover for Katie Glenn, goalkeeper for her own team. Whenever you run that ball out, whether it's the keeper or defensive player, it's a very heads-up play. You're getting possession for your team, but a cause turnover is awarded to you as well. Those point totals may not be as much as they were last year, but still pretty high. So anytime you can snag one of those, you're gonna definitely move on the leaderboard.
Team Glen trailing now by 3. Started the scoring in the second quarter with this player doing so, Maggie Hall. Mastriani moving quickly for Rosenzweig. Mastriani pump fake off the hitch. Hall getting closer inside that 8-meter key. Mastriani was double teamed. That was good timing from Cookie Carr. Carr, currently the head coach at nearby Towson University. 5 seconds to shoot. Moreau looking to the interior. That was deflected by Evans and stopped by Reed. 90 seconds or thereabouts left in the opening half. Taylor will cruise across the midline. Courtney Taylor, one of many BC Eagles graduate student in Chestnut Hill. She was a transfer from Temple. You're seeing the leaderboard, the colors next to the names, the uniform colors for the players this week. Finishing up the 3-game set. Top 4 on the leaderboard after we're through with the second game today. There'll be new captains for next week. Draft tomorrow night. Kick save by Glenn, very sturdy in goal. Once again, Katie Glenn making sure Sammy Jo Tracy could not convert as Geiger explores midfield. Using a bounce pass there to play for Mastriani. Shot clock's turned off. Team Glenn can have the last shot. They would need a 2 to tie the score in the second quarter and force the carryover. Bosco won the 20 points for winning the opening frame. Everybody on the roster, all 14 players benefiting. Mastriani fouled there on the outside. The officials continuing the play for Rosenzweig. Livy off the two-person game. Hall, big face dodge. Long drive, Haley Warden, that's rejected. Britt Reed adding 4 points to her totals as they battle on the end line. The officials say Team Bosco ball. As the siren sounds, ending the opening half. Another quarter win for Team Bosco. They outscored Team Glen 3-1.
I think one of the biggest difference makers right now, both keepers are playing well, but the defense for Team Bosco has just been stifling. They're making it very difficult to get any clear looks at goal from in tight. Their only options have been taking a shot from the outside.
It's a hot day here at USA Lacrosse headquarters. Temperatures in the upper 80s. Bosco and Glen each with 1-1 marks in their first two games this week. Kylie Ohlmiller has a visit now with Britt Reed.
Brett, you're seeing the ball really, really well this week. What's the preparation like? What goes into the mindset heading into a game against all of these great shooters?
Yeah, it's definitely this defense. This defense is unreal. They're playing awesome. We've been adjusting every game and trusting each other, and it's truly a team defense, and it's awesome to be a part of.
It shows. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you so much.
Britt Reed figures to challenge her 109 saves from a summer ago. That was her single season best. She's been the backstop to a 5-2 advantage after 20. Trying to get the upper hand on Katie Glynn's squad just the same. Stay there with us at the half. When we return on ESPN, you'll hear it from the athletes' mouths themselves, who they think is going to win this summer.
Obviously, busy Skane. Sam Geyer's back.
The action has quieted down here in Sparks, Maryland. Team Bosco and Team Glen have run half their race for today with Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse on ESPN. Last week when the athletes arrived in town, they were peppered with questions on Media Day. One of them was a simple, who's going to win the championship?
Who's going to win this season?
Are we going to see another battle of Taylor and Sam?
So far, it's been 3 Taylors in a row, so that could be a factor. There could be a name area to it.
Taylor Marino. Shout out to her. When I think about winning, I think of Taylor Marino because she's won the past 2 years. I'm hoping for a three-peat out of Taylor.
Taylor's always been amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if she went for a third time just because of the player that she is. She's so competitive and strong.
Taylor Marino. I was on Taylor Marino's team 4 weeks in a row last year, and I'm glad to take her to the crown, and I want to take her to the crown again. I hope it's me, but we'll see.
As you can tell, choosing Taylor Marino was a very common response, but it wasn't the only one. Stick around. When we return, you'll hear another popular pick, plus our announce team weighs in with more opinion. Rapidly, we have ripped through 2 quarters of play at USA Lacrosse headquarters. Team Bosco and Team Glenn are getting a breather from Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse on ESPN. During our first halftime segment, you heard Taylor Marino was a popular choice among all the athletes to defend her crown this summer. There was, however, another favorite for who's going to win in 2024.
He's going to win this season. He's going to bring home the gold. That's a hard question. Who's going to win this year? It's been so close the past couple of years between Taylor and Sam.
I'm between Taylor and Sam, but I'm gonna go Sam Apuzzo.
Sam Apuzzo.
Sam Apuzzo.
Sam Apuzzo.
Sam Apuzzo.
Sam Apuzzo. Sam Apuzzo is gonna take gold this year.
She's just unbelievably skilled, and she just wants it so bad. She's very dynamic. She can score, she can feed, she can do it all.
She's been super close the last, 3 years now, and she is a winner.
She is just an unreal player, and she's gotten second too many times, and I think this is her time.
She's just so hungry and so competitive, and she's a great teammate, and I would be so happy if she came out on top at the end.
Now, you can tell those comments were made during media day before the games began. We've had the advantage of watching 4 games play out. So, Courtney, who's going to win in 2024?
I knew you were going to put me on the
You knew I
spot
was
right
gonna do
off
that,
the
and I
bat.
will.
Okay, I can't disagree. You have Taylor Marino, who's just doing outstanding as always, but we have a lot of great rookies like Ellie Macera or some defenders, maybe
Hopping
Sydney
along
Scales.
the fence.
I know. I'm going to continue to change my answer throughout, but I would love to see a defender in there too, Emily Knowles. So she tackles kind of both, a defender and a rookie.
Kylie O'Miller, it's your turn.
I don't want to sound biased at all here, but I am going to pick a former Seawolf. Allie Kennedy started in the second position in the leaderboard here today. I know things are shifting around as the games go on, but if she can get into that top 4, pick a solid team, she's one of those players that picks up points all over the field, and she doesn't turn the ball over. So I could see that being a surprise.
Kylie, I'm not afraid to say Katie O'Donnell. I'm not, because I think she's playing a game that has a certain determination, and I saw it during the scrimmages preseason. I saw an added fire with her driving the ball to the cage, shooting with conviction. I wouldn't be surprised if the new captains pull her up onto their roster. I wouldn't be surprised if O'Donnell isn't a captain before too long, and it wouldn't surprise me if she's among the medalists and maybe number 1.
That's the exciting part of week to week, new captains. So am I going to take a stake in a rookie or a defender? Maybe I'll throw out another one, Caroline Wakefield. She kind of knows how things are going, but every week changes, so I think that's what's exciting. It's too soon.
Circling back around to Kylie.
Too soon to tell is right, Courtney. I think that's really the thing about AU Pro Lacrosse that's so unique. The ebbs and flows of every single weekend. Some players could have a great Thursday and a not so great Sunday. So it's really exciting to see, but I'm going to stick with my AK on this one.
I think you're all lying. It's Taylor Marino. You know it. Marino has been fabulous so far, and she starts on top. We'll continue, have a peek at some highlights. This one's going to the Dogs on ESPN. Team Bosco and Team Glen wrapping up week 1 with the Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse on ESPN. This is game 5 of 24. Team Bosco in the purple, a 5-2 advantage after 20 minutes of play. Courtney, have a look at Sam Geyer's back. She got off to a flying start.
Team Bosco leading comfortably at the half, 5-2. Izzy Skane, all eyes are on her. They're sending quick doubles. That doesn't seem to stop her because she can pass that ball. but her speed to cage, I think, is what's unmatched by many of the defenders right now. Britt Reed doing a solid job, whether the shots are in close or coming from the outside. A lot of that has to do with her arc. And then on the reverse side, Team Glenn wearing the blue jerseys. Katie Glenn, team captain, she is stifling as well. A lot of shots are coming at her. She's relaxed, she's calm, she's not too jumpy inside. But Katie O'Donnell, she's doing a lot of the dirty work on the field. But Maggie Hall, she is the one who's put both goals into the back of the net.
Maggie Hall having a fine first week as a professional. When you look at the numbers, Team Bosco in front by 3 where it matters most, heavily in front, Courtney, when it comes to shots.
The shot differential is huge, and the draw controls, those are doubling the amount that Team Bosco has over Team Glenn. If you aren't winning the draws, it's tough to score. You know that your defense is going to make some stops, but you have to start winning more draw controls and letting that translate into goals.
Team Glenn has scored early in each of the first 2 quarters today, but then after that, they've been shut down. Team Bosco has won each of the first 2 frames, 2-1 and 3-1. And by virtue, they have a 5-2 advantage as we get rolling into this quarter number 3. 10-minute quarters in Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse. We play 10-on-10, 6-on-6 at the offensive end. There is an 8-meter key. Score from behind that, you'll get 2 points for the team and 16 for yourself. We're all about the individual leaderboard in Athletes Unlimited. When we're all done on August 11th, there will be a single champion. There will be 4 medalists, a teammate of the year, a defender of the year, an all-defensive team as well, to be settled among the 56 players in residence. Bounce shot, score! Moreau on the run.
I like Amy Moreau changing up the shot that was looking to be taken, because you have Britt Reed, who's been all over those high shots. As soon as she received the ball, she had 2 goals in their very first game with Team Glenn. A little bit of a sweeping action, but that bouncer right up and in around the crease, sometimes those can be hard to read as a goalkeeper.
And you saw Amy Moreau as she was dodging to cage there. She was working with Ali Mastriani, and the defense has to respect Ali Mastriani. So you see them kind of stepping up, expecting her to get the ball, but Amy Moreau just taking advantage of them stepping back.
Kylie, I want to stay there right with you. You had the chance to speak with players as they were coming back out of the dressing room. What'd you learn?
Team Bosco is all about the fun. They said they're just having a fantastic time. Speaking with Cookie Carr, she said she is, quote, obsessed with this team. So that's unfortunate to see that this team will be broken up tomorrow in the draft, but you could tell they're having fun out there.
Team Bosco has the ball. Cookie Carr wearing 83 in the purple, fond of this group of 14. And as Kylie mentions, we'll have the draft tomorrow. And obviously, Court, there's continuity that's built this week. And you would imagine the new captains will recognize that just the same and try to keep the teams closely resembling one another, but not exactly.
It's hard. You know, we watched it in season 1 with Kylie as a captain. You know, the gold team, the one that you were captain of, Kylie, that was the dream team. You guys were just firing on all cylinders. And then the top 4 are now the new captains, and the team gets broken up no matter what you try and do. I think that's the great thing about the league, because everything can change at the drop of the hat, as well as the leaderboard.
Mastriani inside, Rosenzweig just missed. She was shooting there with the cross that has the pink, it looks like throwing her sidewalls.
Yeah,
it's
new.
Is that her new stick or is that her draw stick?
No, she has not played with that in the first 2 games. So game 3, she's changing it up. Different mojo out on the field. You know, she does have 2 of probably some of the best coaches. When she was at Loyola, you have Dana Doby, who's into stringing sticks, Jen Adams, and both of them, as well as the rest of the players here from Loyola, they are always talking with their alums, you know, just giving them little feedback.
McCool to the interior, lost her balance on the way to the cage. Burns, the rookie out of Michigan, plays on for Detweiler. Detweiler, who played collegiately nearby at Loyola, 3 times first team All-Patriot League for the Greyhounds. You have 20 seconds to clear the midline. Burns does that with a shovel on to Choma. Choma, one of 21 different first-year performers among the 56 in AU Pro Lacrosse.
We just saw that clear from Team Glenn. Maddie Burns, she did that with the draw stick. I can't tell you how hard that is. Under pressure, but also that backhanded pass with a stick that's not hers.
18 seconds to shoot for Hall. 2 goals in the opening half. O'Donnell with a sidewinder wide of the cage, guarded by Britt Reed. O'Donnell has been quieted today after a 4-goal performance yesterday. Rosenzweig just missed, chased down on the end line by Haley Warden. The ball stays in, it'll be a shot clock violation. Britt Reed's squad, Team Bosco in purple, Abby 55 in the purple, the defensive player of the year last year. Her sister Jen just won a national championship at the Division II level with the University of Tampa. Sammy Jo Tracy gets the alley and fires. She scores!
It's not often that you see Sammy Jo Tracy shoot just an overhand shot. She has a flair for the dramatics, whether it's a Twizzler, a behind the back, a between the legs. But coming in out of transition, we see a lot of subbing happening again. It's pretty warm out there, but as she gives herself space, you're gonna see her wind up. Again, oftentimes if you have good shooting mechanics, you see her stick being brought back pretty far. Nobody's trailing her. She is able to wind up, sight that cage.
And you mentioned it, Courtney, we're seeing a couple of different subbing tactics over here for both teams. Sammy Jo Tracy coming in as what they call an attack midfielder. So an A mid, they're running an A mid and a D mid. So one of the defensive players is running off and an offensive player like Sammy Jo Tracy is running on. So they can play with 4 attackers and rotate 2 midfielders instead of 3 to save the legs.
Calculated substitutions, huh? Courtney, Sammy Jo isn't worried about the heat. This is like a hot yoga exercise for her. She's a yoga teacher. Another player who has a birthday in the coming week ahead on July 25th. Team Bosco doubling up Team Glenn. It's a 6-3 advantage. We're 1-1 in quarter 3. The quarter win points, 20 for the squad that wins each individual frame. When your team wins the game, everybody on your roster gets 45. You'll see the leaderboard changing off and on throughout our telecast today on ESPN. 5.5 to go in the third quarter. Kuykendall and Skane, best friends, collegiate chums at Northwestern, getting to wear purple this week. Must have been an easy fit. Moreau picking up that ground ball after Kuykendall lost it, and the officials will award ball to Team Glenn in blue. Mentioned the temperatures hovering around 90 degrees today. The most sunshine we've seen in any of the 3 days of Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse. We play doubleheaders on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Mastriani offers for Hall, legging after it. Dowdy's right there in her hip pocket. Choma off the split. The colors next to the names on the leaderboard, the uniform colors. Marino's squad wears white with the gold numbers. You'll see them, Team Marino against Team Apuzzo. In the second game of our doubleheader, those 2 players have been captains forever. 8 weeks in a row, 9 weeks in a row, as a stick check call is made inside the 8-meter key.
You can see the reaction of Marie McCool, number 4 in purple. Not too pumped about that. I think she felt like the attacker ran right through and into her space.
Snapshot score! Erica Evans on the free position shot.
You know, a focus in AU Pro Lacrosse has been on calling more of the fouls on the body. Anything that they feel has been excessive, the referees are gonna most definitely blow their whistle. And here's another look at the foul. Actually, I think it was on Cookie Carr, number 83, but nevertheless, an 8-meter set up, easy pickings for Erica Evans.
As you mentioned, Court, that foul was on Cookie Carr, and it was one of those up checks. So we'll look to see if they can reel that in as they head into the fourth quarter.
Folks, week 6 of the PLL schedule. It begins Saturday at Torero Stadium in San Diego. The feature matchup on ESPN, Chaos and Redwoods at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, followed by Outlaws and Cannons on ESPN+. Next Sunday, Water Dogs and Atlas on ABC at 3 Eastern and noon Pacific. Then it'll be the Whip Snakes taking on the Redwoods on ESPN+. In fact, every game can be found on ESPN+. For that full schedule, you go to espnplus.com/PLL. Carolina Chaos with Blaze Reardon in goal. The Redwoods, Ryder Garnsey, I'm sure will be a big challenge for Blaze in that one. It's blazing hot here at USA Lacrosse headquarters. Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse players, they can be very vocal. Let's go into the game right now with Ali Mastriani.
Here we go, let's go. We only have a few minutes, get dialed here. Because like you're never gonna go sprint for 7 miles.
And like sprint, run.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
People on the street would be so concerned. They'd be like, are you running from somebody? Are those pickles?
Yeah, and mustard for cramps.
Oh God. If I ate mustard before a game, I would throw up. Yeah, I'm with you. Get, step up, get through this. I'm on you if you need. I'm with you if you need. I'm below you. I'm below you. You're good. I'm with you. Good. Good job. I'm here. Defense looks awesome. Nice. Crushed it. You did good. That is your superpower.
Fingers off the stick.
Couple of Tar Heels there at the end. Do I gather that Allie's not a mustard fan from that discussion, or just not mustard in 90-degree or 120-degree heat on the field?
Yeah, I'm not sure who can do the mustard thing. Well, I know my dad loves the mustard when he has his cramps, but the pickle juice, I think, is a really popular one for all these players.
Rosenzweig gets draw control possession for Team Glenn in the blue. We're a little bit more than halfway through the third quarter. Team Bosco had the 5-2 advantage at the 20-minute halftime break. Choma and her mates looking to rally back. They have a 2-1 lead in the third quarter that's worth 20 points for everybody on the individual leaderboard. Moreau played collegiately at UMass. Knocked in 7 goals last season in her rookie year. 6-on-6 at this end of the field. Rosenzweig turns, measured by Dowdy. Mastriani thought about the 2. Folds that one over high. Shot clock's at 5. Maggie Hall, a whirling dervish. She bowled that one wide. And on the end line, it'll be Team Bosco ball.
And another caused turnover right into Dowdy's name. Again, it's very heads up. Anytime that you can run the ball out from the backfield, get possession back to your team, it may seem simple, but the more that the ball is in your stick, obviously the opponents can't be scoring. So very heads up play whenever you're on the defensive end.
Kuykendall outside the 8-meter key. Really just a sign of the times when it comes to Athletes Unlimited scoring system. Meg Dowdy's not going to produce a lot at the offensive end, but she placed 11th overall last season on the overall leaderboard out of 56. get a whistle here from the officials. Lynn Bowers, Erica Leslie, Devin Holcomb, and Ronnie Anton on the field today.
And that was pretty close to that 8-meter key. Erin Kuykendall, she almost could have had an 8-meter, but it was just a step outside after that foul from Maddie Burns.
Marie McCool sightseeing back behind the cage. Long drive score. Did that rattle around and out? No, off the crossbar and down. Dorney thought she had one. I thought she had one. The officials say no.
I potentially need
We're
to
going
see
to have a
replay.
review, aren't we? It sure did look good from here.
It almost seemed like it died, right?
We're a $2 cab ride away from the field, but let's take a peek. The immediate challenge was asked for by Team Bosco facilitator Amber Hill. This is her 3rd year as a facilitator. Have a look at this shot. 44 in the purple. Dorney lets it go. Ring-a-ding-ding.
I'm going to need to see that even slower.
There was definitely contact with a goal post or crossbar. Did it touch nylon? Did it get goal? It's a very hot day, sunshine, plenty of glare off the field, and I'm sure that's influencing the pictures in your living room as we're trying to sight it as well.
That's the best angle. You see that the shot hit off the crossbar and actually went into the back of Katie Glynn's stick. So that was kind of that thud or the slow action that you saw right after it hit off the crossbar. Take one more peek. It's gonna hit off the pipe. Boom. Immediately back into her stick.
No goal.
On the backside. So their initial call on the field was correct.
No goal. The officials making sure of it at the timekeeper's table. With a score 6-4 at the moment, Dorney showing off an outside shooting threat. Hannah had a 2-point goal, her first as a pro yesterday. Working in New York City as with a private equity firm is Hannah. Notre Dame Fighting Irish product. She said that her older brother Ryan really sparked her love for lacrosse.
I think any of these players who have the older siblings, they were very much put into those situations where they just had to learn how to become competitive. It was either the parents or the older siblings. So many answering that same question, which I'm not surprised by.
Nope. Folks, you can rep your favorite AU lacrosse athlete. The AU Pro Shop has player t-shirt options available for the entire 2024 roster. Visit shop.auprosports.com and purchase yours today.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. It was the save. The ball will start here.
Lynn Bowers informing those here at USA Lacrosse HQ of the no-goal call. The rule on the field stands. We share one more point of view on this BB from Dorney that rings the crossbar.
It was a great step down off of a feed from Marie McCool. Just close.
Courtney, at first blush, I saw nylon move. It was the nylon of Glynn's goalie stick.
Yeah.
It was the mesh kit,
right,
not
that
not
faked us
the
out.
goal. That's why I called it a goal, off the frame and out. So it stays 6-4 with 2 minutes to go in the third. Team Glynn has the 2-1 advantage in the third quarter, trying for those 20-quarter win points. Bosco leads overall where it matters most. Choma is straight away, downhill against McCool. Casey Choma working adjacent to Mastriani. Mastriani weaves her way in and pumped it wide to Britt Reed, who went to the splits. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Fans watching as the officials coordinate inside the key before restarting play.
They're adding 10 back to the possession clock, just to be sure after that late whistle from the far side referee.
Thanks, Kylie, making the shot clock at 10 off the restart. 1:28 left in the third. Shot clock's at 5. A feed to the interior for Evans goes unanswered. This is a shot clock violation against Team Glen. Team Bosco gets points awarded for that. On the move, McCool on the go, past Warden. Flips for Geyers back. Under a minute remaining in the third. First of two today, Apuzzo and Marino will follow, 3:30 Eastern time. Check out AUProSports.com to find out where. Great moves by McCool, and she finishes.
I like Marie McCool against that defensive matchup. I think she noticed a speed difference between her and Haley Warden. As she got closer, potential little working with Izzy Skane, and then when she realized she had her beat on the underside, instead of taking a low angle shot, as we take one more look, she's gonna get underneath of her, bring her stick back up and around, and we've said this time and time again. Kylie, you and I talked about it before the game. Just some stick swinging, reaching, no contact. It just creates offense for the attackers.
And Marie McCool is veteran enough to know once she gets past someone that way, the first thing that's coming is that back check. So for her to add that extra level of protection by bringing her stick across her face, that was next level.
McCool, do-it-all midfielder, is number 4 all-time in AU Pro Lacrosse history in terms of goals. 35 seconds remaining in this third quarter. The whistles blare out. Team Glen has the ball in blue. This third quarter score is tied up at 2. Great stick check there by Dowdy, although she fouled Mastriani. Does it again, those two former U.S. national team members. Leaderboard left side of the screen, 10 seconds to go. Hall off the sweep, bouncing back up. Multiple whistles now as Maggie was fouled a couple times.
You know, surefire way to move up the leaderboard. The first and second quarter, and here in the third, it's tied. So the 20 points aren't going to go to either team, most likely going to be pushed to that third quarter.
Abby Bosco will make sure of it, running out the time in the 10-minute third quarter. Team Bosco has a 7-4 advantage. The Golds split evenly 2-2. The fourth quarter, it'll be worth 40 plus 45 for whomever wins this one. Up close and personal with Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse on ESPN. Smart move today, grabbing some shade here in Sparks, Maryland. We've played 3 quarters. Team Bosco and Team Glen matching up. Team Bosco winning the first 2 frames 2-1 and 3-1. And in the third quarter, as you can tell, a carryover 2-2, 7-4 with 10 minutes to play. Folks, Sunday Night Baseball, it's the series finale from Dodger Stadium. The Red Sox against Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Coverage beginning at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. With baseball tonight, Sunday Night Countdown. ESPN2 is going to have a special StatCast edition presented by Google Cloud. Joe Beninati along with Courtney Martinez-Connor up here in the booth. Courtney is the daughter of Major League Baseball pitcher Tippy. I wonder how Dad would have pitched to Shohei. Very carefully, I'm sure.
Well, you walk him, and then you go for the pickoff.
Yeah, walk him and pick him. That's the way to get rid of him. That's the truth. Players getting their game faces back on for the fourth quarter. Marie McCool wearing number 4 with us. Marie, Team Bosco out in front 7-4. What's been the key to the offense today?
I think we've just been really sharing the ball really well. Obviously, having Izzy out there as a threat has been huge. She's been drawing doubles, feeding, doing everything for us. And then, put in Sammy Joe, getting a good dodge in. I think we're just having a lot of different opportunities from feeds, dodges, and everything.
Marie, early goals were a lot of assisted goals. Towards that third quarter, both teams with just your isolation dodges. What's been the big difference?
I think obviously just being prepared for those assisted goals, hedging into the middle, making it a little bit more difficult, but also the off-ball movement, really creating that space for the Dodgers to have lanes.
Marie, we appreciate the insights. Get back to work.
Thank you.
Working with Team Bosco, a 7-4 advantage. 10 minutes to go down the stretch. Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse on ESPN. First of 2 games today here at USA Lacrosse headquarters. Team Apuzzo and Team Marino will wrap things up. Once that game is over, once the MVP points have been tabulated, we'll have 4 new captains. They'll be involved in drafting new teams tomorrow night, 7 p.m. You can see it on YouTube, hosted by Kylie Ohlmiller and Maria Tribalpiece. Kuykendall's a long way from the cage. She'll come cross-field to Geiersbach, who had the first 2 markers on the board today for Team Bosco. On the interchange with Sammy Joe Tracy. Moreau hedging out, Geiersbach dipping a toe inside the 8-meter key. Score from behind that, it's a 2-pointer and 16 for yourself on the leaderboard. Grace Griffin has been a threat each and every day this week. McCool with that long stride, throws it on back. Bouncer here, pumped right on by Skane, denied by Katie Glynn. Katie Glynn's side had control, I thought, of that third quarter. They had the higher shot total, but still we remained deadlocked at 2 apiece. So we carry over those 20. This fourth quarter is worth 40. You win the game, you get another 45 for everybody on your roster.
You know, lacrosse is a game of runs. It's a 3-goal game. Even though that may seem like a lot, it doesn't take long to put a point on the board, and oftentimes when that happens, a team can go on a quick little run and close that gap, even within a minute's time.
Mastriani off the roll dodge. O'Donnell, triple team to the heart of the Bosco defense. Ball down. They look for it on the end line. It's goose back towards the circle. Gets away from Reed. Bosco overruns it. It's a wild scramble for this loose ground ball, and it's Choma who comes up with it in her cross as just as the shot clock was expiring. There is a foul called and a card to come.
So we see the battle for the ground ball, and as soon as Choma turns, it's the extension of the arms by Grace Griffin. Now, I did think that the horn had blown right beforehand, and essentially then that foul shouldn't have happened.
It was something that Choma, she did turn into. She didn't see it coming, but since Grace Griffin's hands were a little bit high, it was just an unfortunate accidental yellow.
That's the voice of a past AU Pro Lacrosse standout, Kylie Ohlmiller, joining us as our field reporter this summer as she recovers from injury. O'Donnell off the face dodge, snapped it wide, but there's going to be another one of those walling calls.
Again, taking up that shooting lane for the attacker. You can't just be standing there. I do like the addition of the walling call. It keeps things a little bit more even when an attacker generally would take a shot.
O'Donnell in her 4th summer of AU Pro Lacrosse pumps this one to the corner. She scores. Yesterday, O'Donnell bagged the first ever MVP won in her AU Pro career. Quiet today, but now converting to bring Glenn within 2.
This is the third 8-meter goal, the second for Team Glenn. And as we see the ball transition around, defense is having to slide. Remember, they are a player down, and it was called on number 83, Kristen Carr, in the purple jersey. And you can see why, if you're taking away that lane, the opportunity to shoot. And then Katie O'Donnell putting that away easy.
I like the look there by Katie O'Donnell. You could see her kind of looking to the off-stick side of Britt Reed, acting as if she was going to shoot over there and then pulling it back to her stick side. Added that little layer of deception on her shot.
Kylie, you have the mindset of a goal scorer in this league. What are you looking for when you line up on that 8-meter shot?
A lot of times you're not quite used to being on that center hash there, right there in the middle. That's something that's unique to AU Pro Lacrosse. In the college game, you could be lined up on different hashes across the arc based on where the foul was committed. So I think just kind of getting used to that position and then understanding what's your comfort level of either running the ball in for the shot or just taking that step down.
Which we haven't seen. I think we saw one step down, right? Somebody looking for a 2-pointer shot this season that became popular as the seasons progressed in past years.
Inside, behind the back flick, denied. Glenn was waiting for it out of the cross of Sammy Jo Tracy. Here's a fast break for Team Glenn, 4-on-3. Mastriani, Rosenzweig, Evans, and then the pass too tall for Mastriani inside. Just past the 3-minute mark. Charlotte North, when she lines up for the 8-meter shot, she often will tiptoe and dance back to uncork a 2. Feed it here, interior, great trail check. O'Donnell ripped off McCool, who stays with it and bounced one off the outside of the post. It'll trigger another break for Team Glenn in blue. Detweiler. Mastriani fires and scores! Here comes Team Glenn.
The defense generating offense that led to a goal. Team Glenn with a great pickup on the defensive end to start this one out. They broke up the fast break opportunity. Katie O'Donnell once again getting a trail check on Marie McCool. And then Detweiler, a lot of green space in front of her. She has the legs to run. We could see that Team Bosco was struggling to maneuver around too quickly. They were spread out, made it hard to get back in defensively. Bosco right here just trying to get back into place. Almost could have been called walling.
It was an official review to see if that was a 1-point or a 2-point goal. And it was a quick turnaround to see that Ali Mastriani's foot was inside that arc. So it does count as 1 point, but I like her just catching and ripping that. She is getting some great open looks. We just need her to shoot a little bit sooner.
Courtney, from your defensive philosophy, how do you post up? How do you play the fast break as it's running towards you?
Well, the attackers were spread really well, right? As the ball was coming in and they had to shift and move around. Again, we're just 6v6, but all 3 defensive players with the 4 attackers already set down there. They were at a deficit. It was too difficult for Bosco to recover, and Ali Mastriani, as Kylie said, to just take that shot right away rather than wait too much time for the defense to collapse and catch back up.
Kuykendall inside roll, she scores!
Erin Kuykendall, this is her 2nd goal for Athletes Unlimited. She hit the ground pretty hard as she's looking to catch her breath and recover. We talked about teams getting the ball back, transitioning quickly, and that's how both of these teams have scored in their last 2. It's all about the fast break and finish. As Kuykendall sized things up, once the ball hit to X, that's generally where you want that ball to go. I think it was the swings from Maddie Burns initially. I don't know how Erin maintained possession. We saw the stick slide up her body and it hit her into the neck. So this should be a yellow card We see Erin heading off to the sideline, give herself a breather.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those higher hits, and you said it perfectly, Courtney, as she kind of dipped underneath for that roll dodge. As Kuykendall got smaller, Maddie Burns' stick just slid up her back and ended up hitting her high in that area. But kudos to Kuykendall. That was an incredible finish. Sometimes you got to get to the rack hard, and she did that.
Draw control for Marie McCool, 4 in the purple for Team Bosco. Team Glen in blue has scored the first goal in each of the 4 quarters today. In fact, they scored the first 2 in the 4th. It's the closest they've been to Team Bosco, but the strike from Kuykendall makes it once again a 2-point game with 5.5 to go in regulation time. Lindsay McCone jogging in off the sideline for Team Bosco. Skane fakes the flip, slides between defenders. Detweiler and Burns did the job there. Going to get a push here in possession for Team Glen.
I like that defensive scheme. It was as if they knew that Izzy Skane was going to roll back, so they were sending that blindside double, so that way she would roll right into it.
Evans inside the 8-meter key. Geiger outside the key. Kuykendall has returned for Team Bosco. A pass from Moreau that's over her head. A turnover and a costly one there in the comeback efforts for Team Glen. Both of these squads with marks of 1-1 this week. Team Glen beat Team Apuzzo on Thursday, lost to Team Marino yesterday. Team Bosco losing to Marino on opening night, beating Team Apuzzo yesterday by a 2-spot. Skane had 4 in that one yesterday. She finds Sammy Joe. Tracy works in, Sammy working off of the roll dodge. McCone fidgeting at the 8-meter key. Lindsay stacked up there defensively by Haley Warden. Geyer's back on the inside roll. No room afforded her. Outstanding positioning by Katrina Geiger. Under 4 minutes to go. The deficit is 2 for the team in blue. Choma to the heart of the defense, she scores! Casey Choma would not be denied.
A hard-nosed dodge by number 26 in blue. Casey Choma, she was a softball pitcher all the way up through 7th grade. She has got a strong arm when it comes to shooting as well. But this all began from the defensive end of the field. See number 8, Katrina Geiger, all over the hands of Sam Geyer's back. She is the one who created this extra possession for her team. Ali Mastriani, she's pretty fast, but I think these players are starting to get gassed here in the 4th, but not Casey Choma. She just took it straight to the rack. She was not tired one bit.
Casey Choma, 2 times a first-team All-American, bringing Team Glen within 2. You don't want to move now. An exciting conclusion ahead. Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse is sponsored by the U.S. Air Force. All eyes trained on the finish here in the 4th quarter. 8-7, Team Bosco in purple with the lead. Team Glen drawing within 1. That last goal from Casey Choma. We can listen in into the game with the field reactions.
Let's go! Way to go hard! Let's go. Hell yeah.
Wow. Good job.
Allie Mastriani, 21 in the blue there, wearing the microphone for us. Able to eavesdrop on that group celebration. Suddenly, Team Glen has the 3-1 advantage in the fourth quarter. This fourth quarter is a carryover court, so it's worth 40 points for whichever side scores the most in this final frame.
And this what's interesting about AU Pro Lacrosse, that they could win the fourth quarter, which means they won the third. And if the score stays as is, the 45 overall game points would go to Team Bosco. So there's a lot riding on it for them. Whether another goal is scored or not, they could come up with 2 quarters, which is huge.
And if they rally all the way back to win, they get the 40 plus the 45 more. Big bonus on the leaderboard. You'll be seeing it throughout our telecast. The colors next to the names corresponding to the jersey uniform colors. We began the day with a whole lot of gold up on top on the leaderboard. Team Marino's squad wears the white jerseys with the gold numbers. We'll see them in the nightcap of our doubleheader. There's Taylor on top. Marie McCool inching ever closer. Marino and Apuzzo will go in game 6 of 24, 3:30 Eastern. AU Pro Sports to where you can find the game in your area. This is O'Donnell, held to just a free position goal today. Mastriani from the severe angle. Ran into a double team, and there's a whistle.
Another free position, an 8-meter awarded from the center hash. This could be the game-tying goal.
Evans has scored from free position. O'Donnell has scored from free position for Team Glen. Mastriani wants to make it 3 for 3. Steps in, fires, kick out save by Reed. Follow up O'Donnell. Off the pump fake, she gives some ground. Erica Evans for Moreau posted up inside.
You know,
Fresh 60-second shot clock for Team Glen.
Exactly, they have a shot clock. It seemed a little frantic when they got that ball back, but they can take their time.
Evans turns on Cookie Carr. Reed again stepped way out off of her line to pick up 4 points with that save. As McCool glides along, 2.5 left in the fourth. It's a 1-point game with Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse. Skane bothered there by Detweiler. And Izzy is on her way to a free position shot. Or no, nope, just a restart.
I thought that was inside of that 8-meter key.
You and me both.
Right outside of it. She was just tiptoeing.
Sure, old Miller, you're close to the field. I like it.
I'm only on this side. On the other side, I can't really talk to it.
Well, you're on our side. That's fine. McCool waiting for a play to develop. Kuykendall sets a screen. 1:50 left in the game. 10 seconds on the shot clock. This is Skane, the 2-time Tewaaraton Award winner. Working up the split to her left. She fires. She scored, but there was a whistle beforehand. Another walling call, I presume.
And she will get a free position off of this last walling call. Obviously, that's inside of that 8-meter area. But just a shame because she worked so hard for that last one.
Sets her feet, pumps that one over top of the crossbar. As the shot clock expires, ball goes back over to Team Glen in blue, trailing by 1 overall, leading in the fourth quarter by the count of 3-1. Moreau and Mastriani, along with O'Donnell and Evans, getting things sorted out. We play 6-on-6 at the offensive end of the field. Choma subbing in off the sideline.
Here we go, Blue!
70 seconds to go. Team Glen in absolutely no hurry. O'Donnell, head coach these days at Drexel, to the alley, fires, had it blocked. That hit a player in front. And O'Donnell is on her way to the sideline. She's going to receive a card here. Was it above the knee? If it's above the knee, it's a red card.
I think she knows that this is a red card because she's taken her goggles off at this point. We see her drop her stick low, and it hits Meg Dowdy right in the side.
The red card for O'Donnell, that'll hurt her overall leaderboard totals. She loses 8 points with that red card. She's also banished from the game, and we get a timeout call here for Team Bosco in the purple, clinging to an 8-7 lead.
Joe, you and I have both said, we feel like the ball seems to find Meg Dowdy. How many times has she been hit over the years with that ball?
29 in the purple. Staunch defender this week for Team Bosco. A veteran defensive unit assembled by Abby, captain of her team. She put Courtney Taylor and Cookie Carr and Meg with her on the back end to protect the likes of Britt Reed and Madison Doucette. We haven't seen the impressive rookie goalie yet this week as Reed has gone the distance. Britt's looking to hold up as Katie takes a peek back at the replay there. She's gonna see what you're going to see right now.
So as she's taking this lane down across, she takes the shot, so that's dangerous. Meg Dowdy was moving across that crease to cover attacker Maggie Hall. So I see that, I mean, Kylie, you're an attacker. I see both sides, but it almost seems like this also could have been called walling, and if she just wouldn't have taken that shot, then she would have gotten an 8-meter.
And you're exactly right there, Court. If Katie O'Donnell had thinking a second more to just hold on for a second, and you know, that's shooter's instinct, so sometimes that's too difficult in the heat of the moment. But that would have been a walling call as Meg Dowdy was kind of in there. Now, if Meg Dowdy was moving across, as you mentioned, pretty quickly to cover Maggie Hall, then it might not have been that walling call. But either way, that's the correct call on the field in real time by the referees.
Kylie, the double whammy of it all, though, with the red card, that's a player-up situation for Team Bosco. Gives them a big advantage in trying to secure this win with just about 40 seconds remaining.
I'm interested to see if they have drawn up a 2-point play to try to tie this quarter. They are down by 2 in quarter points right now.
It is a quarter worth 40, a carryover from the deadlocked third. 30 seconds left. Bosco's team in purple has the ball and the 1-point advantage. Geyer's back, motioning for Dorney. She pops out. Kuykendall thought about 2. Quickly covered up by Detweiler. 10 seconds left. Bad angle bid from McCool, rattled off the post. Glenn makes the save, heaves it 60, 70 yards down the field. On the bounce for Maggie Hall, 2 seconds left. Not enough time for Team Glenn. Team Bosco prevails by the final count of 8-7. Team Glenn wins the 4th and the 40 points for the carryover.
Team Glenn should most definitely be happy. A hard-fought battle, 1-goal loss. They won 2 quarters out of the 4, so that is big. But I like the draw. Clearly they drew this up with Marie McCool working for one of those Kenzie Kent 2-point goals behind that line.
So Team Bosco gets the win. Bosco's second consecutive triumph. They won a close game yesterday against Sam Apuzzo's squad. They hang on for the 8-7 win today. What is it about a team when they win tight games, as you see the overall leaderboard with the colors next to the names reflecting the uniform colors? What is it about your team? How do you grow up when you're battle tested and you win the games by 1 or 2 points?
You know, you feel good about those decisions that you make on the field, the strategies. They don't have a lot of time to come up with them. They only practice a few times leading into those 3-game weekends, but then it all resets. So you're like, everything I just worked for, and here we go again.
And these are the last games that these teams will play together as assembled. Once Puzzo and Marino are done with our nightcap, we'll have the top 4 on the leaderboard be the new captains for tomorrow's draft. They'll draft new sides tomorrow. Kylie Oldmiller is visiting with Meg Dowdy.
Meg, what was the defensive game plan going in there? You have a great leader and captain, Abby Bosco, finishing out the weekend strong. What was the defensive game plan?
Just doing what we were doing, a lot of communication, playing with each other. I feel like we were really playing on a string, so we were just trying to keep that intensity, playing aggressive. So that was our game plan. Try not to let them shoot.
Try not to let them shoot, and try not to let them shoot into your rib cage, right? Taking one for the team there. You're known for that. What do you think are some of the adjustments going into this summer with some of the rule changes, trying to keep you guys a little bit safer?
Yeah, I just think that the strategy is to keep it safe, and with the box in there for walling and just like being aware of who you're marking and how we're moving through the 8 is helpful, but obviously things happen. I didn't get hurt or anything, so Kay's a great shooter, so it's fine, all good.
I love that look at it, and you did awesome out there.
Thanks,
nice save. That counts as some save points, right?
Something like that. Take it.
Good luck this week.
Thanks, Kai.
So no need for Meg to borrow Britt Reed's goalie chest protector. She's A-OK. That's the way the ball rolls in Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse. Game 5 is complete. Bosco's an 8-7 winner. Athletes Unlimited Pro Lacrosse, it continues 3:30 Eastern. Team Apuzzo facing Team Marino. Check out auprosports.com to find the game where you can watch it in your area. For Courtney, for Kylie, for all the men and women in our crew. Joe Beninati, thanks for your time. Bosco by a fingernail in Sparks, Maryland.